Hi, I'm the Gardener Ben, and whether you're new to gardening or you're experienced and you're just struggling with a few basic bits and pieces, welcome to my guide to pricking out and moving along seedlings. Growing your own fruits, vegetables and cut flowers can be really rewarding and a really very affordable way of filling your garden with beautiful flowers. However, get the process wrong and unfortunately it is full of lots and lots of pitfalls which are easily avoidable by watching this very simple one-step tutorial. Seeds, compost, trays and plant labels can all add up in cost, so make sure that you're only buying and more importantly using what you need. If you have excess of seeds, make sure that you fold the packet back over and store it in an airtight container or out of the house and away from frost for next year. Make sure that you're sowing in small controlled batches so that you don't have masses to prick out in huge batches, which can often be overwhelming. Growing seeds and growing from scratch couldn't be easier when you know some basic hints and tips, and is a really great way of getting young children involved in horticulture. Start by filling up a seed tray with some peat-free organic compost and then simply using another seed tray of a similar size, level off the surface. I like to then suspend my filled seed trays in water. Capillary action soaks up through the compost, making sure that it is evenly moist. This will avoid you having to water over the top of the seeds once they're sown, meaning that they stay exactly where you sow them and don't move about. Once your filled seed tray has been suspended in water for about 5 or 10 minutes, you'll see the very surface of the compost start to change colour as capillary action draws water right up to the surface of the soil. This is now pretty much ready to sow. Now your compost is completely wet, it's time to sow. Tear off the top of the packet of seeds and give them a good flick to ensure that they're right down into the bottom of the packet. Then all I do is simply cup my non-dominant hand and pour the seeds I want to sow into my palm. For me, this is my left hand. Once I have the seeds I need, I'm carefully going to place the other ones to one side. Cupping my hand into a deep bowl, I'm then going to tap my fingers with my dominant hand, slowly allowing the seeds to fall through the palm onto the soil surface below. Taking your time at this stage can really ensure great seed distribution, meaning they have plenty of room to germinate and grow. Taking your time at this stage can also mean that pricking out, which is the next stage, is much easier. By sowing in small batches, you can avoid being overwhelmed by having too many plants to move on at once. Don't be afraid to pass over the soil surface a couple of times, taking your time to get the seeds evenly spaced and distributed across the soil surface. Now that the seeds have been sown, they need to be covered up, and we do this by simply taking some compost and placing it into a garden sieve, lightly shaking it over the entire seed tray until all the seeds are covered. As a general rule, seeds need to be covered by around 3 or 4 times the depth of the size of the seed. This tray now needs to be labelled and placed into the greenhouse. Don't forget, these larger bits of compost are perfect for potting up larger plants as they move on to their next stages. Once your seedlings have germinated and started to grow away nicely, they're ready to be moved on. This is normally determined when they start to produce true sets of leaves. This process is normally best done towards the back end of the day, out of the direct heat of the sun and where they have plenty of time to recover and get themselves established and used to their environment over the evening. Start by preparing a suitable container. These cosmos are going to be planted into these 6 modular trays. They're around 3 inches square, which need to be filled with peat-free compost and given a good firm down. This is the part that you need to be brave for. A lot of gardeners at this stage will like a really expensive dibber or tool for this particular part. I myself prefer an old piece of bamboo cane. This is really important. Make sure that you get hold of your seedling by a juvenile leaf and never ever by the stem. If you damage the stem or too much of the roots at this particular point, your seedling will die. It has the ability to regrow lots and lots of leaves but never replace its own stem. Once you've got a good firm grip of the seedling by a leaf, take your bamboo cane and literally lift the plant from underneath the soil surface. Give it a light tug and you can see it will come away with a lovely lump of soil and all of its roots intact. Make it the perfect sized hole into your seed tray or prepared pot. Give it a little light firm, push the soil back around it and it's all snug in its new home, safely there to grow away beautifully. Now my seed tray is full and all of my plants are pricked out. These all now need a really good water. Once again, I'm going to be watering these from the bottom, suspending these into a deep tray of water and allowing capillary action to soak up through the compost. They'll then move back into the greenhouse where I'm going to be looking after them intently for the next couple of weeks.